Remember when people realized that the triceps doesn't benefit from stress-mediated hypertrophy? They instantly dropped this exercise, never touched it again. But then later, in that month or two, people realized that stress-mediated hypertrophy only works for noobs and detrained people, and only for a couple of months. People still didn't touch this exercise. Let's go over the best triceps exercises that you should be doing, or the worst one that you are still doing, in no particular order, based on science, because saying based on science is the new trend. So I'm just going to say that. Triceps kickback, especially the dumbbell one. Even if someone is trying to say you over and over again in 2024 that this is a valid exercise, you are just wasting your time. The range of motion where you have significant tension on you is just at the top. Not to mention you also have to bend over, fold on the bench, and so on. And if you have access to a pair of dumbbell, it makes no sense doing this exercise. And since you do, because you are doing this exercise with that, just do better variation. So this goes to gain killer G tier, or even catabolic. Triceps bench dip. I love this exercise when I first started. I always asked my gym bro to stack plates after plates on me, and if he had to go and take a piss, I would be just waiting there with my feet across another bench, just for him to come back. Otherwise, I would be just stuck there. Anyway, this one is a D tier. Actually, you know what? I'll just go with the G tier again. There's a lot of fear-mongering about this exercise. Oh my god, it is bad for your shoulders. It is murdering your shoulders. No, it is not. If you have healthy shoulders. If you don't have that, then any exercise or whatever you do is going to increase the likelihood of you getting a shoulder injury. Even a calf press. That's why I always tell you to always skip calves. It is dangerous. Triceps dips. This is some hardcore old school exercise. You can do this everywhere. It is training your triceps. Sounds like a solid exercise, right? Because it is. So we will just go with B tier. And you are probably wondering, why is it a B tier? It's solid, right? Well, yeah, it's just there are better alternatives. It is not bad. Triceps lying extension. This is the variation where you are letting your elbow go back, going for a deep stretch at your lats and at your triceps. I like this one. If you feel your elbows too much with this exercise, then you can just use a dumbbell, and it is way smoother that way. The only reason I don't go with S tier is the progression, so it goes to A. You see, when you are holding heavier weights, I'm talking about 20 to 30 kilogram territory per hand, just holding that weight, especially at the bottom, is really difficult. Like, almost impossible. And with the barbell, it is still an issue on your wrist. Then again, still an A tier exercise, so it's pretty good. And now its brother, triceps skull crusher. The only difference with this one is that you are not letting your elbow go back, you are keeping it steady, so you are only moving at your elbow. The dumbbell is getting close to your, basically your skull. It is not better or worse than the lying triceps extension. Essentially it is the same. You just don't do this arm motion basically. So it goes to the same A tier because the progression is still a bit weird. Crossbody triceps extension. This is my first S tier exercise. It is easy to progress it, stable, setting up is easy, comfortable. One of my biggest issues with this exercise, or any cable exercise, is the weight increase on the stacks. You add one plate or whatever is that called on the stack, and from okay it goes to impossible. But you can always pin these smaller plates, like 1.25, 2.5 kilogram. And I'm not even sure how it is in your gym, but I'm using a matrix dual cable and the jumps are 2.2 kilogram. So it's not even the 2.5. So how you should imagine it is 10 kilogram, and from 10 kilogram it goes to 12.2 kilogram. Now, if I do that jump, that 2.2, I can't even lift that weight. If I add 1.25 kilogram, just pin it there, it's still fine. But then again, when I'm trying to do the 2.2 kilogram jump, I still can't do it. So one day I was thinking, the machine is shitting with me. So I added a 2.5 kilogram, I just pinned the plate there. It moved so easily. So this is why I always tell you never believe what is written on the machine, because that's sure as shit. It's not 2.2 kilogram. You're probably talking about 4. Triceps push down. I have a mixed feeling about this exercise. This is definitely an A tier. But if you add the bench to it, it goes to S. And it's funny because most of you would probably say, why is that? Why you don't want to stand? You don't want to be athletic? But you could also just fuck off. But let's just try it. Pick a weight that you can only lift for 5 reps, standing. Now sit down and with the same weight, you're either going to get more reps or you will feel like you need to increase the weight because it is that much easier. Now why is that, chat? Stability. If you don't have to stand, you are externally stabilized, then you can see the true potential of the muscle that you are trying to train. However corny that sounds like. This is why a hack squat is always going to be better than a barbell squat for quads, but both of them are going to build them, but just one of them is way better. The only question is, do you have one in your gym? Probably not. Say if you have a bench, you got an S tier. If you don't, it's an A tier. Overhead triceps extension. Remember when people realized that the triceps doesn't benefit from stress-mediated hypertrophy? They instantly dropped this exercise, never touched it again. But then later, in that month or two, people realized that stress-mediated hypertrophy only works for noobs and detrained people and only for a couple of months. People still didn't touch this exercise. And then came another study that showed that an overhead position grew the triceps way better than the anatomical one or when it is next to your side, and everybody lost their shit. And that study is great. Nobody knows what happened there, but I'm looking forward to further trialing and researching. But even without that, this exercise is a solid A tier. Actually, it's a solid S tier. And if you set the pulley around hip height, you don't have to do an ATG squats, and you also won't dislocate your shoulders on the way down. GM presses. I feel like this exercise doesn't get any love at all. Close grip bench press. Hex press with dumbbells. What about the GM press? GM press? I haven't read newspapers for years. They are a solid A tier exercise. I like the Smith machine for this exercise. If you set it up right, you're not going to feel your elbows. But if you set it up wrong, then you are going to feel some excruciating pain. Just like with every exercise you do. I think this one is slept on, especially if your gym is not well equipped. I use and program every exercise from S to B tier, and I don't touch the rest. Because there is no point. After a certain point, fun just doesn't give you any result. For example, doing a triceps dip is fun for me, and it is also a solid exercise, but doing a bench dip, however fun it is, it makes no sense. And this is my list, yours can be different. I'm actually curious about the exercises that you use. Like, subscribe. For online coaching, hit the link in the description. Talk to you soon.